All right, hey guys, I'm Ross Fertel. If you're on the Trek CC forums, you know me as Faithful Reader, and I'm joined with Alan Gould.
Hey, good morning.
All right, so this being the internet and having forums, there's all these threads that come up 4 or 5 seconds after something cool comes out. And this Justice League trailer's been out for a week or so, and there's been nothing on the forums on it at all.
And you know it's not because nobody's seen it.
Right. Well, I've watched it and I just need to be calmed down after seeing it. Like the big thing is this dark tone that worked for the Dark Knight trilogy, and they shoved into Man of Steel, and they shoved into Batman v Superman. They're now shoving into Justice League.
See, I think they're telegraphing who the villain is going to be. Because they're setting up that parallel to Avengers, right? Here we're going to have the individual movies, we're going to do the big group thing, and then you're going to have the big bad villain 4 movies down the road. So like in Marvel, that's Thanos.
Right.
I think for Justice League, it's Murky Dismal.
I'm not familiar with Murky Dismal.
It is the villain from Rainbow Bright who sucks all the color out of the world.
That would make sense considering what we've seen.
Well, it's too dark. I mean, even Dark Knight, I am over grimdark Batman. I got over him like movies ago. The ultra realistic, like everything is dark and gritty, and it's like, yeah, you're missing the fun part. This is a comic book. Comic books are fun. And I don't even think it makes a good Batman. Like it makes him like, okay, so you're a rich guy who shoots people for that's Punisher, dude. Like,
well, one of the big successes people were talking about Dawn of Justice is this older Batman works, which was good, but Dark Knight trilogy, fantastic trilogy, good success, and they're just trying to shove that into DC, and this also goes into DC just following up Marvel and kind of getting all their good stuff out of the way.
Well, and that's where Dawn of Justice had the problem, because that's pulling the what's the plot? I mean, it's old Batman, like that's a very specific story, and they kind of shot that way too early.
Well, yeah, but we had the Superman movie. Technically, we're getting the Wonder Woman movie before Justice League, and I did love that trailer. But they're shoving their roster in our face.
Yeah, I think they're trying to catch up. I think they're looking at the Marvel going and saying like, "Hey, Marvel's already pushing, like they're going to be hitting their 3rd Avengers, and that's if you don't count Civil War as a de facto Avengers movie. Like they're so far behind. Are they just pushing out movies like, no, we need to get to our big Justice League moment, we need to catch up, and it's like, no, this worked because you let everybody like take their time and introduce these people to folks like my mom who loves Ant-Man, has no idea who the hell Ant-Man is outside of that movie, but she doesn't need to, right?
Well, that's the thing with the rosters that they have. Marvel does not have a better hero than Superman, Batman. They just don't. But with DC, their B-C list roster is weaker than Marvel's.
Yeah, because I would say Superman. Yeah, because Superman and Batman are more iconic. I mean, you could say, Marvel side would you start with Spider-Man as their go-to, and then I don't know, take your pick on. I mean, everybody will know who Captain America is, even if they know nothing about them. Maybe, yeah.
Right,
Hulk.
They've done this great job of introducing these characters to us individually. Like even with Black Panther, who I have no idea who he was with Civil War, they still gave us an introduction to him in the movie. I absolutely loved how they just skipped over the Spider-Man backstory. We don't need to see a third one. I know what happened. Just give me Spider-Man and I'll be happy.
Oh, and what I'm looking forward to is they keep resetting, so we keep seeing Uncle Ben die. Like, and it's like, okay, we get it. And I'm really looking forward to just seeing wisecracking, ass-kicking Spider-Man. Like, the experienced, this is his jam. Like, the closer to the old comics book, or not comic book, the old cartoons, right? Where it's there and he's the teenager juggling life, yada yada yada, but he's not, the angsty bit is gone, which would be good, because I'm, like I said, I'm really getting to the end of my tolerance for the dark angsty comic book thing. Like, I would like to see Batman. I mean, like Lego Batman movie is a good Batman movie that doesn't have to, it's like, no, Batman is fun. Batman is a guy walking around in a rubber bat suit, for Christ's sake. If when the tongue is not in the cheek, you are missing the point.
Right. Well, one of the other big issues I have with this trailer is Superman is not in it at all.
I noticed that, and I haven't seen the last Superman movie or Superman v Batman, because I looked at the trailers like, this is dark, and I've read this comic book, so I know how this ends, and meh. So I was wondering, like, did they actually just, like, I was like, no, they didn't just kill off Superman, right? Like,
well, he does get a funeral scene, but the very last shot is after they sprinkle some dirt on the grave, the ground starts to shake, and you see some of the dirt rise up. So Superman's coming back.
well, and like you said, it's Superman and Batman are DC's golden goose. You are not killing, like, you can do whatever you want to that boy. His ass is in the next movie. I wonder if it's because they couldn't, like, did they figure out that grimdark Superman doesn't, like, you can't fit him into that trailer that way? Because everybody else it's all very dark, it's all very desaturated. Like, did they actually learn the lesson that, Superman is supposed to be a beacon of hope and optimism?
Well, if he does get a rebirth, they might be able to just rebirth his entire storyline.
Yeah, we'll just politely forget about that part, right? Like,
but in Batman v Superman, Wonder Woman, she's got a couple scenes sprinkled in here and there, but she's really in the end of it. And I'm hoping that at the end of Justice League, with their big battle, Superman doesn't just come there at the end and save the day, and everyone's like, where were you for the past 5 months, 10 minutes, 5 hours of the movie?
Mm. One thing I did like is Jason Momoa's Aquaman looks, I'm not sure how Aquaman he looks, but at least he looks like a cool character, unlike most other times they've done Aquaman. Like,
well, he's recognizably Jason Momoa, and anything that puts him on my screen, I'm willing to pay money for.
Yeah, it's. I mean, and they haven't shown a whole lot of them, but I had that as like, you know what? That is a decent like, it's not the I sit under in my yellow tights and talk to the fishies. It's like, okay, you know what? I'm on board for that far. Flash feels entirely too young.
Well, the scene with Batman and Flash talking in the Batmobile, that just screamed to me Iron Man and Spider-Man. Like, I've seen that trailer, and it just screams, we're not only are we trying to get with the Justice League, you're getting everything that you're getting with Marvel. You have this rich guy, he's going to mentor this younger guy to be a better superhero, and at least Tony Stark can throw money at Spider-Man. What mentoring is Batman going to do? Run faster. Run faster. That was good, but run a little faster.
Better, I don't know, low friction spandex. Like, well, and that's the problem with them going with old Batman, because you don't have, like, it's like, well, what's your power? And it's like, well, you don't have young athletic Batman. You don't have I have trained for decades and I am at the peak of my physical, like you don't, and probably because that's Wonder Woman in this setup, right? Like that's your athletic person in here. So now, I mean, what is he? He's the smart guy with all the money, which is, and if you're going to get back, because I mean, really, Iron Man is just a Batman who got over losing his parents, got better grades and took an engineering degree instead of a business degree, and picked up an occasional drinking problem. I mean, that's
right. And he's taking on that Shield role from the movies. The guy with the computers. By the way, he's pulling all this stuff together. Like he's the guy that goes out and kind of gets the team together.
Yeah, and that's a better role than what Batman seems to normally get, which I usually like. Batman's true superpower isn't money; it's plot armor. It's because Batman's shtick is, well, Batman is always prepared, which translates as, okay, we have written into this thing, what does Batman need at this moment? Oh, yes, he totally prepared that 6 issues ago. We just didn't show it to you, right?
Yeah. And also this Cyborg guy.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea who he is. Like, I'm not an avid reader of the comics, and they're shoving him in my face. And I'm like, okay, I'll go with it, but
I know he's one of the newer Justice League guys. I don't know the whole backstory. I just know I've seen him around.
Like, were they just digging around, or did they just say, okay, we need someone else. Let's just put some guys in a hat and pull one out?
Well, I think it goes to your point that the roster gets a little short. Like you've gotten, you've done you got Batman, you got Superman, you got Wonder Woman. And as much as it pains me to say it, even Wonder Woman, you have already fallen off your A tier at this point, which is, a terrible thing there. And it's like, okay, now you're down to Flash. Let's see who else is in here. You got Aquaman, which, I mean, Lord, you're like, that's the thing. But now who's like, I'm looking at the original list, Martian Manhunter, and how the hell are you even going to tackle that? Green Arrow, who's currently over in Supergirl, like the CW universe, so you probably can't steal him.
So is the Flash, and with that, they've made it clear on the show that there's multiple dimensions and universes. So they're not going to integrate these two at all, but they are just going to say this is one universe, this is another, and never the twain shall meet.
Yeah. Okay, and then Adam Hawkman, which, I mean, God, you've already pulled off a miracle with Aquaman. Like, let's not press our luck here. I mean, and that's the original lineup.
Right.
And then there's, you got Black Canary, and I think that's the problem, is you need to have, X many people to make your ensemble work, and the well gets a little dry real fast.
Yeah, just with the inevitable comparisons to Marvel, not only have they done a good job of introducing these people and giving them all a proper introduction, like even though Black Widow's never had a movie of her own, no one's going to say she hasn't had a proper introduction.
Yeah. And I heard an argument on why there isn't a Black Widow movie.
Oh?
And it was a good argument. And it basically was, she doesn't have power. It's her and Hawkeye have the problem of they're very, very good supporting characters, but you don't, like, a Black Widow movie is basically what, like a Jason Bourne, or like it's nobody's figured out how to do a superhero genre movie with Black Widow without having to lean on somebody else to come in and supply the superhero part.
Right. But the good part about the Marvel movies is they do different movies. Like Captain America, the First Avenger, different movie than Winter Soldier, different movie than, well, the Iron Man movies are kind of similar, but they know what each movie should be. It's not, this is the DC movie, it's not, this is the Marvel movie, and it's going to be dark, and you're going to like it, and it's going to be something you'll like because it's dark.
Yeah. Well, and even the Marvel, like, even Winter Soldier isn't that dark. Like, it doesn't feel as dark.
But Winter Soldier is your spy drama.
Yeah.
It's your international espionage James Bond movie. And the other thing that they've done as of late with their roster is they've shown that they can go through other characters. Like you do not need Robert Downey Jr. to be Iron Man.
Yeah. Or you can have, like, I like what they're doing. And I mean, we're drifting, so I'll do this quick. I like that now you have the Thor movie coming out and you can set it up that, hey, here was Civil War. There's no Thor. There's no Hulk. And they kind of lampshade that, hey, we like dropped a couple of characters for, because, I mean, the argument is because, well, you don't want them taking sides in this fight. They're like, that's, what, like, it's easier, even in the comic book line of that wanders them off plot to, I don't want to deal with this. But it's now, okay, well, now you can show what they're doing. Like, you can take your cast and spread them out and you can mix and match and you don't have to pay Robert Downey Jr. money every year.
Right. Well, the other thing with that is that there's the interconnectedness, but they could also, pass the torch, sit some guys on the bench, but while still keeping it as a unified universe. And I just feel that this is something that DC is really missing the boat on. Unless the whole thing with this older, grumpy Batman is that he will eventually just pass the mantle off to someone else.
Oh, and they'll just bring Robin, Nightwing, whatever.
Yeah.
Although I wonder if part of that is your point that Marvel has a really robust B tier, or like they might not have the same A tier names, but then their B tier goes deep, because I mean that's how you got your Ant-Mans and like all of these, your Deadpools and your X-Men, and I mean they've got a whole mess of people who are, you've heard the name but you don't know them. Is DC's problem that you start with, I have Batman, I have Superman, there's my A tier, and then you don't have a B tier? Like your B tier is really low, and then you go to your, like, and then all the rest of their guys is C. Like you got Hawkman, and somebody remembers a toy with a eagle holding the mace, but
well, the thing is that what Hawkman brings to the table is the same thing that their Aquaman brings to the table. Like an Aquaman movie, if this is entirely underwater and people are just swimming around, it's going to be boring.
Yeah.
So you have your Aquaman who's there flying around and doing things. You have your Wonder Woman movie, which seems to be the Wonder Woman movie. It seems like they got the tone. This is a prequel. We're setting it in World War I. We'll make jokes about history, and everyone's happy. Yeah. And that's just a concept that I hope that when they start to do the standalone movies, they'll do more of. But I'm less optimistic with that.
Yeah, I mean, they need to accept that. Like, if you're going to crib from Marvel, crib from the fact that the Marvel movies can have wildly different tones. Like, your Ant-Man is a heist, like your Ant-Man standalone movie is a heist movie that is, it's funny and a little cheeky and it's doing its own thing. Like, Guardians are off doing theirs. Like, each of these people have their own day job, home life, whatever you want to call it. And I always thought that was an advantage, like a strength of Marvel, that they kind of tier their heroes a bit better. Like even you see it on TV, like you got your Defenders, which is your New York Hell's Kitchen crew, and they're not fighting Galactus. That's not their shtick, and then you have they do a better job of segregating. My problem with Justice League was always like, okay, Superman flies, functionally invulnerable, has whatever power, like depending on which comic book you want to read, but he can basically do whatever the heck he wants to do. Batman, I have money. That really, Superman only doesn't have money because he doesn't freaking need the money. If Batman, Superman wanted money, he would have money.
Right.
Dude crushes coal into diamonds,
Well, even when Marvel brings characters together, they're still the characters. Like you could see bits of their individual movies coming together, like bringing on Ant-Man. That was seriously the Ant-Man vibe when he was in Civil War. And
Yeah,
I'm not seeing how everyone splits apart. We're seeing the sum of the parts, and I'm not seeing the individual pieces in there.
and part of that'll be is because they haven't gotten solo movies. The other part is that like Superman kind of got, but it's they're using the Batman tone and pasting everybody with it, like that desaturated, kind of grimmish. Like if they do an Aquaman standalone movie, and dear God, don't make an Aquaman standalone movie. I mean, but it's the like that's where you have to go Guardians with it, right? Like if you're gonna do the Under the Sea or say the Hawkman, because I mean they're aliens from outer space. Like if you're gonna do that, you have to four color it, right? Like you have to go that Guardians route of everything is in 4-color comic book day glow. We're not explaining any of this crap, you know.
Right. Well, the biggest mistake DC made is they didn't realize that by the time Marvel got there, they built their way there. Like they had the Iron Man, then they did Hulk, and then they laid out their plan. They weren't automatically top tier. They fought their way there. They didn't start at the top of the mountain. They climbed and crawled their way to the top of the mountain. Yeah. And it just seems like DC wants to just be at the top of the mountain.
It's they don't want to spend 90 minutes explaining who Flash is, so we're gonna do, because I mean that's Avengers gets away with that. By the time Avengers starts, you don't have to introduce any of these guys. They do their little like meet cutes, but that's it. Like they don't spend any time explaining who Hulk is or who anybody is. You already know this whole cast before it starts. Whereas this one, they have to sit there and you got to introduce Flash and you got to take a couple of minutes to show off, you know, this is why we give a crap about Flash. And like you have to, you know, we got to introduce Aquaman and you got to, like, you're going to spend half this movie putting the band together.
Right. And I'm not eager with the direction they're going in, but I know I'll be there opening weekend watching it. You know they're going to make a lot of money, and you know that's just going to feed their ego more. This is working. We're making money. Let's keep on doing this.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I imagine at that point, because like they know it's going to make money. Like there's no way it's going to flop. So I wonder, do they just compete against Avengers dollars? Like, you know, is it not a do we make money, but it's did we make more money than those Marvel assholes?
Well, the other thing that I'm holding out for, and I do believe that there is a non-zero chance that this will happen, is a DC versus Marvel movie.
Oh, Lord. Well, I mean, they played in that in the comic books, what, in the 80s? That's the amalgams?
Right. I mean, that would be, if you talk about a movie that has a chance of beating Star Wars at being the ultimate movie, that's the movie that you have a case for. DC versus Marvel.
Oh, maybe, but the rights would be, I mean, that's the one advantage DC has, is DC has all of its rights. Whereas Marvel's had, like, you know, their Fantastic Fours are farmed off somewhere and X-Men are farmed off. Like Marvel shopped out all of their rights. At least DC owns the whole thing. I don't see it happening anytime soon. Right. That's like I think that would happen after both of them have run through their main plot lines and now they're looking like, hey, we need another 3 movies this quarter.
Yes. But
not to say I wouldn't watch it, but
it would top box office charts. You might as well just print out the money for them right now.
Yeah. Well, you know, I could see it bombing because I mean there's definitely a wrong way to do it. Yeah.
Right, but you know, you get J.J. Abrams, get Joss Whedon.
Go get the Rainbow Bright property. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, anything else to add before a little bit of closure?
Hey, video editors, go turn up the damn saturation on the film. You know, there are more colors in the world. Like,
yes.
Like, I mean, it's the Superman, like it's like Batman, fine. Aquaman, okay, with this version of Aquaman, fine, you're gonna do the dark thing. Wonder Woman, okay, I can kind of buy it. But I mean, Flash, it's like, okay, like, dude, the guy's wearing a bright freaking red suit. Like, Flash is not a dark, gritty hero. Like, Flash is a silly hero. Flash is a guy who runs, like, his power is he runs fast and has a cosmic treadmill to travel through time. Do not grim dark Flash. And then Superman is like, no, seriously, we need, like, Superman is the Captain America. He is the guy who does the right thing no matter what the cost. He is the beacon of hope and truth and justice, and let the guy have some color.
But that was their big problem with portraying the Flash, because this is a guy who, anytime he does his powers, you see these rays of light, you see these lightning bolts. And you're like, how are we going to do these lightning bolts in this dark and gritty reality? I mean, I guess we have to show them, but
Yeah, but it's like you have to do it, and you have to find a way to do it that's not just ripping off Quicksilver, because you already have, like, you already have two versions of Quicksilver out there, and the X-Men version is far superior. But it's like you've already done that shtick, so now you need to find a different, like, you have to have the red blurs and the, like, that's the shtick. You just can't do the slow-mo thing, because otherwise everybody's going to compare you to Quicksilver. And the dude from the X-Men, Quicksilver, nailed that style.
right. Well, the other big thing about it is you have Cyborg in this movie who's seen in a Letterman's jacket. So you've got your football hero type jock with Cyborg, and you have your nerd in the basement with Flash. So you have those two things, but where do you go? Like, are we just getting back into Spider-Man, the Flash's Spider-Man territory?
Well, and that's why the Flash's kid struck me as weird, because, I mean, and my DC history is severely lacking, but I seem to remember classic Flash was like a police, like a medical examiner or something, because that's kind of how they roped him into the crime fighting thing. Is he, like, that was his secret identity thing, was that he was actually like an FBI, like a forensics examiner or something, in that, dude at the crime scene.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not, like, this kid ain't that. And I'm surprised they didn't go that way, because if you're going to do Cyborg, and if I recall right, his thing, I can't remember where the tech comes from, but he ends up taking over a lot of the Batman hacky crap. So now if you're going to have another kid in a basement, like, now you got what, like 3 nerds on this team? Like,
yeah. Well, you've got the 3 nerds, but you also have the football captain Superman and head cheerleader Wonder Woman.
Well, but I mean that you're going to do an ensemble movie, so you have to, like, give everybody something to do, and having, at a minimum, 2 guys, because, I mean, Batman does the whole, I look up everything on my back computer and learn crap. And now you got Cyborg, who kind of overlaps into that trek. And then if you're going to put Flash in the basement with all the computers and crap too, then it's like, is this like, are we just making Swordfish in the DC universe? Like, you can have 3 of them all sitting there hacking. Like it seems like an odd choice to not take, because you could have the medical examiner thing, and then you overlap a bit into Batman's detective shtick, but it doesn't seem like they're pushing that hard. So, well,
short of Batman or Alfred putting out an APB, they don't really have the authority figure that in the Marvel universe they have with the Agents of Shield. So something's going on, they can put out an APB through Shield, but they
Nick
don't
Fury
have that,
calls them up.
Yeah, they don't have that connection in DC.
I think historically it's either Batman, or I think in the later ones it ends up being Barbara Gordon, like in her Oracle days, as kind of the switchboard, like, hey, this thing happened.
Yeah.
I don't know. Justice League always struck me as a weird, like, why do you people, like, it's have you heard the thing where they say it's Marvel is humans learning to be gods and DC is gods learning to be humans?
I haven't, but it makes sense.
Yeah. So I always get the sense that Justice League is really the clubhouse for all of these monstrously overpowered people. Like, Batman does not have a home life. Superman's got that lowest thing, and I mean, really, there's something not right going on there because, like, 60 years and, like, just take the girl out on a date already. Like, it seems like this is where all the superpower, like, it's clubhouse almost.
Yeah.
Except instead of like, hey, dude, I need someone to help me, move my couch, it's, oh, hey, dude, the aliens are coming. Like, yeah.
Fine, I'll be there. Let me take a shower. I'll be right there.
Exactly.
So yeah, well, hopefully once they get into the individual movies and then get back into Justice League, DC will clean up their act. But for right now, they're shoving it down my throat, and I'll drink it.
Yeah. Well, have they announced, like, are they doing a standalone Flash or like anything outside the big three?
Yeah, I think for the JV League, they're each getting their own movies. So this Aquaman movie that you're so kind of scared of, it's coming.
Well, it's not even that I'm scared of it. It's just one of those, like, how are you going to spin it here? Okay, let's see. Justice League. Okay, March 18 is the Flash. Yeah, no, Aquaman, December 2018. That's gonna
be interesting.
Yeah. And then April 2019, Shazam.
That's going to be even more interesting.
Well, and for that, like, if they're not going full, full ham on that movie, like
a dark brooding Shazam.
Exactly. Oh, that's who they're missing. There's no Green Lantern.
Well, you can forgive them after the failed experiment with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, like they said, no CGI'd suit. But it's on the list, July 2020, Green Lantern Corps.
Well, given that they've now started introducing aliens into DC Universe, I can see that kind of working.
Well, and it's that same thing of, like, you have to play to their strengths, right? Like, yeah, well, and this list just keeps going. Gotham City Sirens, which, again, if you just, like, dear God, if that is not a straight up, like, Deadpool level comedy, they have not read those comic books.
But that was another thing that I had on my list with the Justice League trailer. Wonder Woman's kind of in it, but she's in it more as a foil to Batman than as Wonder Woman.
Oh, she's the Black Widow of this one?
I hate to say it, but yes. Hopefully the Wonder Woman movie will put her in a better context. But the trailer just had her be there as someone for Batman to talk to. I'm thinking about getting this guy. Who else should we bring? I don't know. Oh, how about this guy? That'll be great. Okay, so what do I do?
Well, and that's a shame. Because, I mean, Wonder Woman, canonic, like, she is one of the people who can go toe-to-toe with Superman. Like, she's like, like, Wonder Woman versus Batman should be, like, you would be scraping bat ears off the sidewalk. Like, she like, power-wise, not recognition-wise, but I mean, she's, like, there's comic books, like, she goes toe-to-toe with Superman. So, like, she should be, I mean, as opposed to, and that's where I'm comparing, like, Black Widow, where Black Widow plays supporting characters as much because that's her power set. She's the behind-the-scenes, stealthy spy, like, agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. But, I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'll post a thread in the Everything Else forums. Hopefully this will start some sort of discussion, for better or worse. Feel free to comment. And
what's the other thing you're supposed to do on these? Like, subscribe, follow. Yeah.
If more than 10 people watch this, I will be absolutely thrilled beyond thrilled. All right. Take care, everyone watching, and have a good day.
Later, guys.